Each day pulling combat operations in Vietnam, in a province in the northern part of South Vietnam, which was very rural and close to the mountains and kind of sandwiched actually between the mountains and the ocean. And each day when we would go through these small cluster of villages, pulling our what we called search and destroy operations, the search part was literally going through, tipping over their rice baskets, punching bayonets into the ground, trying to find holes, and we were trying to find caches of rice and weapons that would indicate that that location was maybe supporting Viet Cong activity in the area. So we weren't very civil to the people, and if they ran, this was what was called a free fire zone, and you were permitted to shoot them if they evaded you. One day, the four of us lieutenants were having a meeting with our company commander, and he produced a brand new program the Department of Defense had come out with called Winning the Hearts and Minds of the People. And it detailed step by step all of the changes that we had to make when we entered into any discourse with any local Vietnamese villagers. No longer were we allowed to really upset any of their village operations or their food stores or anything like that. And if we did find something suspicious, we had to send that person back to be interrogated at the fire base, or what we call the fire base. So this day, after we had this meeting, we had to go and implement this right away, within hours, on a regular search and destroy mission that we did on a daily basis. Well, it's hard to turn around a whole set of habits you're used to, of course. And it's hard to get everybody, as I was the platoon leader, it was hard to get everybody really on the same page very quickly. But by noon, we decided we'd sit down in this kind of almost looked like a Midwestern pastoral area of almost like thin grass. And I decided to put the perimeter out where you have 3 people in a perimeter, 3 men, and 1 man would eat, the other 2 would watch, and they would rotate their lunch, or their eating cycle. So in the center, however, was myself, my radio telephone operator, and also the medic. And we began opening our cans, and I was looking at a certain lean-to. It looked like it had been abandoned because the roof of the lean-to, the bamboo was kind of hanging down, and then below it was a whole bed of straw-like material, and there was this large black piece of cloth in the straw. And as I was opening up my C-ration cans, the cloth moved. And then I realized there was somebody dressed in black, and it happened to be an very old Vietnamese man. So I said to the radio telephone operator and the medic, I said, "Watch out over there, something's going on." Well, we ate, we were kind of looking, and then suddenly we heard all these moans and groans coming from this old man. And they were really so pronounced that I said to the medic, I said, carefully go over and check him out, see what's going on. So he goes over, and I'm watching him, and the man sits up, and the medic's got his back to me, and then he's doing something I can't see, and all of a sudden the old Vietnamese guy goes, "No, no, 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 no." And then the medic gets back, he comes back up, and I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, sir, I think he's got a really bad abscessed tooth." I looked in his mouth, and it's not good at all. And I said, "Well, what can you do?" And he says, "Well, I pulled out my clamps." Now, a clamp is like a pair of pliers that locks at the finger grips, and it's curved, and it has serrations in it so that you can easily tack off an artery or something like that during a medical procedure. Or they're so strong you could pull just about anything. And so he decided he was going to try to convince this old man that he could pull his tooth. But He said the old guy wouldn't have anything to do with it. Well, of course. So we sat there, and then a few minutes later, the old man just was in terrible pain, we could tell. And I said, what can you do? Can you do anything? And he says, well, I think I'll give him a Darvon. Now, a Darvon is a big horse pill, pink and gray, and it was used as a very quick, very powerful painkiller. If I took one, which I had at one time, it makes you woozy within minutes. And so I said to him, I said, okay, give him one of those. He said, no, he says, I think I'm going to give him 2. He's really in bad shape. And I said, well, okay, fine, give him 2. That'll do it. Well, he goes over and convinces the man to take the canteen of water and down 2 of these Darvon pills. And he comes back, and so we're sitting there, and a few minutes pass, and then I see the old man just weaving, sitting and weaving like he was just going to fall over. And I nudged my medic, and I said, look. My medic said, oh, okay. He holds up his clamp. He says, I'm going in. So he goes over to the guy, and the next thing I hear is the unmistakable sound of a tooth being popped right out of its socket. I've tried to duplicate that sound. You can't do it. So then I see him putting gauze in the old man's mouth, and beginning he comes back and shows me the tooth, and he throws it away. Then he starts cleaning up, and I started thinking, wow, what we just did was the best thing for the mission of winning the hearts and minds of the people that I could think of. Here we have this old man who is in dire shape. He's not in his village. He's not being taken care of. And now he's going to go back to his village after he wakes up, because he fell over asleep. After he wakes up, he's going to go back and he's going to tell all the grandkids, all the children, everybody in that village is going to know that an American military unit came through, took his pain away, extracted his tooth, and now he's going to be fine. And I thought, geez, I think I'd even like to know where he is, because I'd like to send this in as a story example of winning the hearts and minds of the people to the Stars and Stripes military newspaper. Maybe they would run a feature on it. So I was really glad that we were able to do this. Felt really good. Well, we waited. And we waited a long time to see if he'd wake up, and he didn't. And so we got up and proceeded to go about our mission. And as people were walking off with 10 feet intervals, all of a sudden we hear this loud cry, and we look back, and here's the old man standing up with his hand on his head. And I said to the medic, I said, go back and see what's going on, check him out. So he went back. I turned around to get more people out of the perimeter, and then he comes back up and he taps me on the shoulder and he says, sir, let's get the hell out of here, because I pulled the wrong tooth. I turned around, walked away, and within a few steps I said, well, there goes today's winning of the hearts and minds of the people. Thank you.